Alright, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, a little history for you. You guys probably don't know that song. You probably don't know who sings that song. But you guys do know a song called Moves Like Jagger. He's got the moves like Jagger. Anyway, the guy who's singing that song is Mick Jagger, and he's the guy with the moves. Anyway, today, hopefully, I'll be the guy with the moves with my pen tool. So let's take a look. We're going to do Artificial Fruit Pen Tool Challenge Day 2. Let's see, here's the agenda. You can read it as well as I can read it. That's what we're going to do today. Alright, here's what we want to do. Alright, so let's go to our project. So here's what we have so far, and we're gonna use a gradient to color in these stems. So we're gonna go to the stem, but we have to blow this thing way up so we can see individual colors. Okay, so we want to make these stems look accurate. So we're gonna blow this thing way up and find these colors. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the eyedropper tool. If I can find it, there it is. There's the eyedropper tool, and we're going to get a color. So we want to start off with this dark color, go to this light color, and go to this color over here. Alright, so we're going to click right there, and there is a color. Okay, and let's see what's going on with our... There it is. Alright, let's drag this thing over here. So we have one individual color, but we don't want just one individual color. We want to group the colors. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to a new color group, and we're going to call it the stem group Brian. Okay, and you're going to do that, and you're going to click OK, and you can see it has that first color in it. So then we're going to choose the next color, which is this is probably a good one right there, and we're going to drag it into it. Okay, so drag it in, and then we're going to put it in order. All right, and it's fighting me. What? There it goes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to end up with something like this that I already did. Okay, so you can see we have all the colors in a row. Okay. So from dark to light, and then up to this color over here that gets a little bit darker at the edge. Alright, so you guys do that. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a gradient. So we're going to come over here to the gradient tool, if I can find it. That is not it. It looks like this. There's a gradient tool. So we go there, and we double click, and we make a new gradient. Okay, so what you do is you start off with your first color. So you say, alright, I want to start off with this dark color, and you drag it right there. Okay, and then these probably won't already be here, so let's just say it looks a little something like that. Okay, and so then you'll drag in the second color where you want it. It's real close over here, and then you drag in the third color, probably like somewhere right there, and then the fourth color, probably somewhere over here, and then actually. And then something like this, and you can adjust these colors like, oh, that color should be a little darker, so you say, oh, I want to add a little black to it, and you add a little black to it, or you can add some little cyan to it, okay, and adjust it like that. Alright, so now that you have this, here's what you do. You go to your stem, so let me double click on the hand so we can see it. Okay, so it's a little bit too much, let's blow it up a little bit. So let's go to our stem. There we go. So we'll select our stem. Okay. Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to drag that gradient into our thing, and then we'll double click on it. Okay, and then we're going to say Brian, or this is the stem gradient Brian. Click OK. Oh, well, anyway, I already have it. So there it is right there. So so we'll click on this thing. So we named our gradient. Okay, and then we'll drag our gradient into it, okay, and we'll change it to that color. And what we can do here, by the way, is we adjust this thing around until you can see that as it moves around, it adjusts the gradient. But it creates more of a realistic looking thing. You can also do, let me show you, let me draw a square for you here. This will illustrate it better. So as you adjust the angle, you can see how it adjusts the angle. The other thing, you can change it from linear to radial, and that does some interesting things as well. Alright, so we've got a gradient. Alright, let's take a look at our spiel here, and you can do that with the other stem as well. But basically, alright, so just so you know, we're just doing one part of it with the gradient. With the big part, we're going to use the gradient mesh tool. We're going to use a different tool. But anyway, let's take a look. Alright, so alright, we already did this. Alright, what does the eyedropper tool do? What is a gradient? Okay, answer those questions. Alright, next. Did you answer those questions? Answer those questions. Alright, the gradient mesh tool. So now we're going to do the bulk of it we're going to do the cherry with the gradient mesh tool. Alright, so we're going to start off in a similar manner. Okay, so but now I'm gonna do the cherries. Okay, so I'm gonna start off. Here's my outline of my cherry. Okay, I'm gonna make a copy of that. Okay, and I'm gonna turn this one off. This is the one I'm gonna work with. And then I'm gonna move it up so I can still see the cherry. I'm gonna try to basically copy this cherry. Okay, so I want something like that. I should probably just turn the stem off. It's just kind of annoying me. Okay, so I want to copy this thing right here. Okay, so in the same way, I am going to create a color group. Okay, so I've got this one. Okay, this is the color group I made because I'm taking the highlights. So basically I pick this dark color here. I pick this dark red color here. I pick this bright color. I pick this pink color. I didn't end up using it, and then I pick this white color. So I picked the various colors in this thing. All right. So now I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to fill it with the main color. Okay. So I filled it with the main color. All right. So the next thing is I'm going to use the gradient mesh tool. Now, if you look, see this curve? I want to try to mimic this curve so I can get that black color in there. So I go into the gradient mesh tool. Okay. And I figure out where I want to put a vertical line, and so I want to put it kind of like right here. So I'm going to drag down to create this line. Okay, now I go to my direct selection tool and I try to mimic that curve. I don't really want this one. I'm going to get rid of this. So I'm going to press Alt. Why do I get rid of this? I'm going to go to my mesh tool, and I'm going to press Alt, and I'm going to get rid of this line. I don't really want that line there. Okay, so I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, and I'm going to adjust this thing here. Something like, I want something like that. Okay, and then something like that a little bit. And I'm going to drag this down. So I'm going to get this about how I want it. Let's try something like that. That looks good. Okay, I like that. And then I'm going to draw another mesh line. And I'm going to show you why. So I'm going to just click and drag down. So click and drag down will get me another line. Alright, so now I'm going to go to my direct selection tool. I'm going to click on this area, and then I'm going to choose this dark color, and I'm going to fill it in. And then I'm going to click on this area, I'm going to drag my dark color, and I'm going to fill it in. And so you can see we've mimicked that dark color. So now look, you can make this super accurate, but because I don't want to pain you guys too bad, I'm going to try to go through this thing quick. Okay, so now let's try to get this highlight next. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our gradient mesh tool, and we're going to try to put things around it. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag down, and then I'm going to, oh, I should have probably not selected that particular color. So let's go and we'll get rid of the black here. So we'll select that, and then we're going to drag drag. So I selected that point, and I dragged the color up that I wanted. Okay, so we got the right color selected, so we're going to go to make sure we're on the gradient mesh tool, and so we're going to drag down again. Okay, that's pretty good, except for I probably don't want this particular one, so I'm going to press Alt, and I'm going to get rid of that guy. So these lines are good, and then now I'm going to do a horizontal one, so I'm going to drag across. So I'm going to click and drag across. Okay, so now I'm good. So I don't want my white piece to get too big. Watch what happens. Look. So because there's a line close here and this line is far, watch what happens. So I'm going to click on the selection tool. I'm going to select, here's the square I want to turn white, and I'm going to drag my white color in. Okay, so notice because there weren't lines close by, it got too big. So what I can do at this point now is I'm going to make sure I have the right color selected. So I'll select this area. So I've got the right color selected, and I'm going to go to my gradient mesh tool, and I'm going to drag down. Okay, and then I'm going to drag across, and now I need to select these areas and get rid of the color. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click that, put my red color in there, put my red color in there, put my red color in here. Okay, so you can see I'm getting pretty close. Okay, so now we can do some things. Let's get a black edge and so on and so forth. Look, I'm not going to pain you with this too much longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what basically that's what's going to look like when you're done. All right. So if you click on it, you can see how I kind of did it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can see I could do it. Now remember, once you get things done, you can adjust it. So like if I adjust this, you can see how it adjusts the color around, okay? And you can see how I did the black edge. Anyway, I'll help you guys through it. Okay, that's good. Let's keep going here. Let's look at the PowerPoint slideshow and see what we have. Okay, answer these questions. What is the gradient mesh tool? How do you make the horizontal mesh lines? How do you make vertical mesh lines? And how do you edit a mesh line? Good, go.